Good morning and welcome to AM News Network presents the Morning Report with Rachel Baird and Ed Peruta. We're here every Monday through Thursday from 7 to 7:30 a.m. I'm Rachel Baird. This is Ed Peruta. We're transmitting live from our American News Media Center studio in Harwinton, Connecticut. And it feels like a holiday today, Ed.
Huh.
And I think it is, judging from the traffic on the road on the way in.
On Friday, I left the office early afternoon and was driving back to Rocky Hill. I got halfway back. I said, oh, shit. I got to turn around and go back. I got to do a show at 4 o'clock. Well, no, it wasn't Saturday. It was Friday.
Because Friday was like a holiday, too.
Right. So
this is turning out to be the best weekend
Saturday,
ever.
I got up and I came in here early. Sky and I were here. We were working on a lot of stuff, trying to figure out Skype. And, okay, so we did Saturday. Now, Sunday, I kind of didn't move. I don't even think I don't think I got in a vehicle on Saturday.
It's good to have Sunday. It's good to have
Sunday.
days like that.
And I called you up and we had something to do, and you said, no, just kick back and relax, take a day off. I said, okay. So you're right. Coming in here today, it still feels kind of like it's not a work day.
I know.
You know, and then tomorrow's the 4th of July.
Exactly. You know, in the news yesterday, and I want to discuss this first, the headline says 2 people slain in Bridgeport on Sunday morning. And then it talks about a wave of violence hit the state's largest city as Bridgeport suffered 3 homicides in 2 days over the holiday weekend. And it was all a result of gunfire. Each of the male victims were shot between early Saturday morning and daybreak Sunday, and 2 of the shootings occurred roughly 2 hours apart. Now, my understanding is the crimes have not been solved. However, Police Captain Roderick Porter wants to assure everyone that it's not gang-related. They're isolated incidents, coincidence perhaps.
Okay, well, I have something to say. It may be time for the state, the U.S. Department of Justice, the criminal justice system for Connecticut, the Hartford Police Department, the state police, the Hartford Police Department, the Bridgeport Police Department, and the New Haven Police Department to give up the list of names of those people who are put into Project Longevity and referred to by the people controlling Project Longevity as the group.
In other words, we went to a meeting at the Legislative Office Building in 2013 where all the commissioners meet. There probably were about 20 people there, and it was headed by the Undersecretary of Criminal Policy and Justice. I don't know, make up a name. Mike Lawler, and he works for Ken Barnes at the Office of Policy and Management. And we were there for a completely separate purpose, but all of a sudden there was this young man who was speaking about Project Longevity. And
I was shocked.
It didn't seem very interesting, but we were listening, we were there, and all of a sudden we started hearing references to the group. The group. It sounded politically incorrect to me. That's why my ears perked up. I said, we're talking about urban areas in the state of Connecticut, individuals who are identified as being either the victims or perpetrators of gun-related crimes, and you're referring to them as the group. I think if you and I did that, we'd get in trouble. But because it was in the context of Project Longevity and it was at this meeting, everybody just seemed to accept that this group of individuals is identified as the group, and that's how we've been referring to it for 3 years. Now, there is a particular statute that was enacted in 2013 that has to do with Project Longevity, and I'd like to go over that statute because that's going to give us the blueprint for trying to find out, since this project has been implemented, what effect it's had But more importantly, where the money's come from for that program and who's been the beneficiary of the money.
Okay, so my impression of what they were saying back in 2013 was this: that government was going to be proactive when there were firearm-related incidents in the three cities that I mentioned, Hartford, New Haven, and Bridgeport.
Yes.
And that they were going to, if there's been a shooting, they were going to go to known members of the group who they believe have knowledge or some part in the shooting, and say to them, no retaliation, no incidents. If it does, we're going to come down on you. But in the meantime, we're going to give you college educations. We're going to give you food stamps. We're going to find you jobs. We're going to find you places to live. We're going to do everything we can to provide for the group, but don't get involved in gunfire. I mean, it's probably a very crude way of explaining what I heard, but it was government's attempt to have a carrot and stick program, and they did say that the majority of firearm-related incidents in Hartford, New Haven, and Bridgeport were committed by people either known to be members of this group or people associated with people in this group.
And this issue has far-ranging
Oh!
ramifications. Chicago, for instance. Because every time they put the statistics together to support gun control laws, they take into account shootings like occurred in Bridgeport at 4:30 a.m. on Sunday morning, 2:30 a.m. A neighborhood dispute at 2:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. What kind of neighborhood?
Or just before dawn.
What kind of neighborhood dispute is going on at 2:30 a.m. in the morning? Loud music? Party? I don't know. So anyway, Project Longevity. This is a state statute 4-68BB implemented in 2013. Boy, our legislature was busy in 2013. So the Project Longevity Initiative is a comprehensive community-based initiative designed to reduce gun violence in the state's cities. Pursuant to the provisions of this section, the Secretary of the Office of Policy and Management provides planning and management assistance to municipal officials in the city of New Haven in order to ensure the continued implementation of the program. And the Secretary may utilize, here's what I want to know about, state and federal funds as may be appropriated for such purpose. What private organizations are getting money to implement Project Longevity, and who do they know, and how do they know them, and what are they actually doing? That's where the interesting part's going to come up. Yep.
I have a question.
Yep.
The word may was in there someplace?
Yes.
May become available?
Yep.
Okay. We don't have a state budget.
Yep.
Are there going to be funds provided to Project Longevity in the absence of a state budget? And when it comes time to cut things in the state budget, maybe Project Longevity should be cut, because there are other areas of state expenditures that would probably benefit more people if the money went there rather than to Project Longevity. Now, I'm going to say this, then I'm going to let you go again. The state of Connecticut, Governor Malloy, Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin, New Haven Mayor Tony Harp, and I don't know about Mayor Ganem from Bridgeport. these people, together with other groups, always, and the media, the mainstream media, you read the article, and what did the headline say? Suffered. What did the headline say?
Well, the headline: 2 people slain.
Weekend of violence or
2
something?
people slain in Bridgeport Sunday morning.
And then
a wave of violence in the state.
Now.
A wave.
Oh, now. State, governor, mayors, groups, people trying to have gun control with honest, law-abiding citizens are claiming this wave of violence when in fact I heard with my own ears in front of almost every commissioner in the state of Connecticut, Mike Lawler and the people making the presentation, that almost all of the wave of violence in the state of Connecticut is attributable to a known group of 400 people.
God, do we still have that tape?
I believe we do.
We need to
if
pull
nothing
that
else, it's up on our YouTube account. But it's back in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I took the picture out of you pointing your finger at Mike Lawler.
Right.
Okay? But what I'm saying is, society has people who believe in the Second Amendment and people who want to take away or restrict or infringe Second Amendment rights. When in fact, government has knowledge and evidence that it is a very small group of people who could never acquire a pistol permit. A lot of these people are put into Project Longevity when they are early released from custody, from the Department of Corrections. As they're coming out of the Department of Corrections, they're put in or somehow get into Project Longevity. In other words, the carrot and the stick. Find you a job, find you a place to live, give you some food stamps, do this, do this, do this, do this. If you don't do that, well, I'll tell you, just throw their fucking ass back in jail and leave them there. Anybody who commits a violent act with a firearm should go into a penal institution and spend a very long period of time there.
If it's not justified.
If it's not justified. You're absolutely correct. Throw their ass in jail. Project Longevity.
Okay, so here's the second thing that falls under what the secretary shall do. Do all things necessary to apply for and accept federal funds allotted to or available to the state under any federal act or program which support the continued implementation of the Project Longevity initiative in the city of New Haven.
Okay, can I raise my hand again?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The city of New Haven has declared themselves to be a sanctuary city.
Whoa.
And should not be receiving federal funds under an executive order signed by President Donald Trump. They jeopardize federal funds for Project Longevity by declaring themselves a sanctuary city. Now, and Hartford. So I think that we need to find out if Hartford and New Haven or Bridgeport, if they've declared themselves sanctuary cities, are receiving federal funds for this Project Longevity in the city. If they are, we need to blow the whistle to the White House and say, look, you need to take away this Project Longevity shit.
Mm-hmm. So the secretary or the secretary's designee, in consultation with the United States Attorney for the District of Connecticut, the Chief State's Attorney, the Commissioner of Correction, the Executive Director of Court Support Services Division, Steve Grant, These are, by the way, these are all the people, not the U.S. attorney, but these other people were at.
They're all at
that
the meeting. They're at the meeting.
The mayors of the cities of Hartford and Bridgeport, they weren't at the meeting, and clergy members. This is where the money comes in. And clergy members, nonprofit service providers, and community leaders from the cities of Hartford and Bridgeport. That's where you got to look. Who is getting the money?
Follow the money.
Shall implement the Project Longevity Initiative in the cities of Hartford and Bridgeport. The Secretary shall provide planning and management assistance to municipal officials in Hartford and Bridgeport in order to ensure implementation. May use state and federal funds as may be appropriated. Do all things necessary to apply for and accept federal funds to get Hartford and Bridgeport up and running. Okay, the Secretary may accept and receive any bequest, devise, or grant made to the Office of Policy and Management to further the objectives of the Project Longevity Initiative and may hold and use such property for the purposes specified. It's all about money and who's getting it and why are they getting it and what if they promised to get it. Go ahead.
Could you repeat that?
This is all about the money.
Could you repeat that part about bequests and grants or whatever?
Yeah, what is that? When people die and leave it
I know. Just keep talking.
The Secretary of the Office of Policy and Management may accept and receive.
Accept and receive.
On behalf of the office.
On behalf of the office.
Subject to the provisions of Section 4B-22.
4B-22.
Any bequest, devise, or grant made
Stop. Devise or grant. What's a devise?
D-E-V-I-S-E?
Yeah, what's it mean?
I don't know.
Devise, gift.
Yeah.
Bequest,
it seems like
bequest is, I've died and I bequeath to you money.
Right.
Devise, I think, is somebody gives money.
Devise definition. Let's look it up.
Yep.
Leave real estate to someone by the terms of a will. A clause in a will leaving real estate to someone. Learned something new today.
Okay, devise. So that's real estate.
It's D-E-V-I-S-E.
And it doesn't say, now, bequest.
Wow. Wow, okay.
What's a bequest?
The action of bequeathing something, a painting acquired by bequest. I hate it when they use the word to define it. The property or money that you promise in your will to give to another person. So bequest is a broad
bequest
term.
And devise. Bequest is property, is items.
Anything. Money or property.
Devise is property. And grants?
Oh, I don't know. Did it say grants?
I think that's the third word.
Oh, yeah, or grant. A grant is anything.
All right, well, let me tell you what I'm sure of. I could be wrong. I don't think that GE...
But then if you go on, it says any bequest, devise, or grant made to OPM and may hold and use such property, if any, in such bequest, devise, or gift. So it changes the word from grant to gift.
Gift.
That's probably a mistake.
No.
I want to know how much money
GE, when they were based in Connecticut, probably made a lot of grants and gifts or contributed money to various programs that they thought were good. Well, GE's probably giving money to Massachusetts now because that's where they're located.
Because GE was down near Bridgeport.
Absolutely.
Right.
Down in Fairfield County.
Right.
Now you got Aetna. Aetna's corporate headquarters are leaving the state and going to New York.
And do you really think the corporations gave money because they thought the programs were good programs? Or do you think they just gave money to...
Quid pro quo.
Yeah, I don't think it really
I do for you, you do for me.
Yeah.
Well, evidently the quid pro quo... corporate quid pro quo in the state of Connecticut has not been working to the benefit of the corporations because of the tax issues. But I'm sitting here saying, yes, I'm sure that someone is writing grant proposals to the federal government and soliciting from Connecticut corporations funding to support Project Longevity.
Now, this statute went into effect on July 1st, 2013. It's 4 years old. I'd like to know, in the past 4 years, who has gotten money and how much.
Okay, I will promise you this. I will, and it's created by statute, Project Longevity, so it meets all of the criteria, I believe, as a public agency. I want to see their budgets and expenditures for the last 4 years. Now, I got to tell you.
Because I think we went to that meeting in December of 2013, I seem to recall. And I know since then we have brought it up here and there, but never focused on it.
Well, let me tell you something else. Well, let me start by saying this. Matt Valentine is a independent journalist who was researching a story about Peruta v. California. And he found out that we had a First Amendment case in the Ninth Circuit and then wanted information on that.
Yep.
And he said that he didn't do the story, and his editors have asked him to now concentrate on reciprocal agreements over pistol permits and reciprocity. But while I was talking to him about firearms and firearm shootings and whatever, I made Matt Valentine aware of Project Longevity. He was very interested in that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, my memory seems to say that Connecticut was copying a longevity style program in another state.
I bet.
And it could have been Chicago. I guess that didn't fucking work. Okay? But for some reason, Project Longevity was not thought up and created out of nothing here in Connecticut.
Oh, of course
it
not.
came from somewhere. And I want to say it could have been based on some program, probably by a different name or maybe the same name.
Well, this was back when Malloy was copying everything that Obama did.
Right, right.
So
monkey see, monkey do.
So if there's a program in Chicago that's getting federal funds, let's have the same program here and get some of those.
Oh yeah, if it's successful there, it can be successful here.
Yeah.
But Matt Valentine seemed very interested in exploring Project Longevity. Now, when he was doing the story on firearms, or it didn't get published, but he's doing a firearm, you know, we talked about how many pistol permits there were in the state of Connecticut. And during his call into the show, he was using the number 178,000. And I got on the phone to DPS and I said, nope, it's in excess of 250,000, in excess of 250,000. So I think that if I was to acquire the budgets, the revenue, and the expenditures, and I'm going to tell you something. The mistake that people make when they look at federal or state budgets is this. They say, let me see your income and expenditures. And there's what's called line items. And each line item has a separate account number associated on a local level. Actually has the police department has almost like a checking account number on it. And they'll say, well, we did this. And then they break it down. Patrol, detective, records. You got to go further. You got to go down and say, give me on a spreadsheet, workable, every check that was written, every electronic funds transfer that was made. Because that is where you find out who got the money. It's not this area of Project Longevity cost or we spent this much. For example, and I want everybody to pay attention to this if you're in the state of Connecticut because we don't have a budget. Watch television, listen to the radio, and see if there is any state advertising being played on television or the radio. Look for any non-legal notice style state advertisements in the newspapers because we do not have a state budget. I go like this. How in God's name, why in I'm not going to do it that way. Why is the state of Connecticut doing ads for the lottery? People that play the lottery play the lottery. Everybody knows about the lottery. I don't play the lottery. I don't buy daily tickets. Never have, probably never will. I go to the casino, but to me it's entertainment. I'll blow a couple $100 and it's a donation to the Indian tribe. But what I'm saying is, we do not have a state budget. So I want to see what expenditures are being made. Now, do I understand that we need police, fire, and certain things to occur? Absolutely. But you know something? Shut down the courts. They gave 30 DUI tickets this weekend. They've got this excessive vigilance going on the roads.
You know, I know we got 2 minutes. And I know we were fascinated on Saturday when we spoke about there being no budget in the state of Connecticut, but somehow the judges in Connecticut were locked into a pay raise, and so as of July 1st, their pay raise would go into effect even though there wasn't a budget. And the way that happens is, if you look at 51-47 of the Connecticut General Statutes, they have it codified in the statute on and after July 1st, 2017, and then they list all the salaries that the judges will get. So it was implemented by law how much judges would get on or after July 1st, 2017.
When did they enact the law?
And that's why it didn't matter. Well, there's a lot of enactments, but it looked like...
Started as a public act.
Yeah. There's so many, Ed. There's so many.
The last one.
Well, June 2nd, 2016, but that can't be it.
They knew there was going to be a budget problem and wanted to guarantee their money.
That can't be it because this goes back to 2014. I think this went into effect in 2013. I think they saw
They
ahead.
knew there was going to be a crash.
So they locked it. They locked it in, is what they did.
They covered their ass.
They did.
Listen, we're out of here. It's 7:28. We have to have a little bit of play on the program. See you tomorrow, July 4th. Today's July 3rd. And be safe and have a good weekend.
Bye.